Hello and welcome to another midweek reflection. Do you remember almost a year ago now I said we should have a jingle for this, but we never really got around to that, probably for the best. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good week. Whether you've had your vaccination or you're looking towards your next one, that's the same thing, isn't it? Or you're looking towards your first one. I hope it's a good week for you. One of the things I've been reading about recently, one of the challenges of lockdown is apparently it's having a negative effect on our memory because most days are the same, pretty much Groundhog Day, which was just the other week, in fact, last week in America. But because most days are the same, people don't even really recall what day of the week it is, and people aren't seeing other people to kind of spark their memories, etc. So our memories are being challenged, are having a hard time of it. That would do. So I thought what I would do before we get to the midweek reflection, yeah, it's a long one today, I would give you a memory challenge. So I'm going to name 3 things that you might want to think about doing even before we get to the main midweek bit, and then I'm going to see if you can remember them in a minute, not at the end of the video, that's too long. Okay, number 1, a reminder that our ongoing lockdown normal challenge continues. So you might remember, and if you don't, here's a reminder, that you are encouraged to send in 2 photographs to me by email, or to Marcia, or to Robert James, or the various other ways, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. One of the photographs is to be a photograph of your lockdown normal, whatever that might mean. Could be, we've had puzzles, we've had people baking cakes, we've had people speaking to people through windows, all sorts of things. What sums up this time of lockdown for you? Because hopefully we'll be gently and gradually getting out of it soon, and we want to document this for the future. So what's your lockdown normal, and accompany that with a photograph of yourself. And as I say, if you're shy, just wear a mask or a couple of masks. So send that in. That's number 1. Number 2, we, with little notice, I have to say, are being encouraged by the Climate Coalition to raise awareness about November's COP UN meeting in Glasgow. Are you with me? There's a big environmental meeting, kind of like, the Paris meeting where they signed the treaty and that Biden's re-signing. There's a big one going on in Glasgow in November, and we are encouraged to tell our politicians that we want them to fight for climate justice in the lead up to that. So what we're being asked to do is to create green hearts out of reused or recycled materials, whether that's, what is that? Yes. One idea that we will be doing later in the year, using green milk bottle tops, we'll come back to that, or knitting something, reusing an old jumper, unknit it and then knit a heart, if that's a thing. Whatever it might be, making these green hearts and displaying them in our windows. Again, if you can take a photograph of it and send it in to me, we will use it in some way. We will be sending letter to our MP in Ponty. We encourage others to do it wherever you are, and to ask them to take this seriously. Or if you're not good at creating things, if you go on your search engine, not Google, thank you to whoever that was who reminded me that other search engines are available, not as good, but available. You can, if you type in show the love, I've been in trouble now, you can download this postcard and you can just print it off and write on the back of it and send it into your MP. So make a heart and display it, or print off the postcard, display it and send it in. Now, number 3, Lent book. It's Lent next week. It starts next week. Next Tuesday is Pancake Day, Shrove Tuesday. So get your eggs and flour and butter, is that everything in? But for our Lent book at Castle Square and St David's Uniting Church, we are going to be looking at Richard Rohr's Falling Upward, which looks at many things, but how we mature as Christians and as humans. Really interesting book. There will be some possible discussion groups. Well, there will be if people want them. And we will refer to this in future newsletters, midweek reflections, etc. Don't worry if you don't decide to buy it and read it. You'll get some of its message and some exercises from it in other ways. But I recommend getting it if you'd like something to read and accompany our Lenten journey. So, almost to the midweek reflection, the proper one this week, and it's not me, so you're going to get a rest from my face. Which is a shame for you, because it's coming up to Chinese New Year. So Li Xuan from Castle Square, well, she's up in Salford, but a much treasured member of the Castle Square community, is going to explain to us a bit about Chinese New Year. And we might have different attitudes about learning from different traditions and cultures. There might be some of us who are skeptical about it. There might be others who would be ready to learn from them and seek the divine within them. And speaking for myself, I think there's so much we can learn with other traditions and faiths. And when it comes to the Chinese calendar, I think especially so because I found out that I am a golden rooster. And golden roosters are supposed to be observant, hardworking, courageous, and talented. I know what you're thinking, a perfect fit. And then I read that they're also supposed to be vain and boastful. So, they're not 100% accurate. But whatever your attitude, I encourage you to engage with this astrological enigma as Li Xuan will explain this to us. And remember, we are still in the Epiphany season. We're coming to the end of it now. And we might well remember that those first Gentile worshippers of Jesus were wise astrologers from the East. So our scriptures say there is something we can certainly learn from wise astrologers. So Li Xuan is about to do that. But first, the memory test. What were the 3 things that you could do? Or that I encourage you to do? What were they? Yes, the lockdown photos. Number 2, I've got to read it myself. Yes. Green hearts. And number 3, yes, the book. Photos, heart, book. Wonderful. Right, that's enough from me. Over to Li Xuan. Have a great week.
Hello, everyone. Are you sitting comfortably? Is my hair okay? In that case, we'll begin. On the 12th of February this year, which is this Friday, it will be Chinese New Year, sometimes known as the Lunar New Year. The Chinese calendar was invented over 5,000 years ago, so this year is the year 4719 and not 2021. As the name implies, the Chinese calendar is based on the cycles of the moon, waxing and waning. So each Chinese month is a maximum of 30 days, which means that very soon the Chinese calendar will be out of synchrony with the Gregorian calendar, which is the one we know. So every 3 years or so, there is a leap month, so that there will be 13 months that year. The months in Chinese calendars are known as moons. Thus, Chinese New Year is the first day of the first moon. And every time there is a leap year, a different moon is repeated. I was born on the 6th day of the 3rd moon. So if the 3rd moon is repeated in that leap year, I get 3 birthdays, 1 Gregorian and 2 Chinese ones. Chinese New Year is known as the Spring Festival in Chinese, as it heralds a new spring. As a superstitious race, the Chinese will have to spring clean the entire house before the new year arrives. All rubbish has to be thrown out before that day, as it is bad luck to throw away anything during the new year. All debts have to be paid, as it is bad luck to owe money. A new year means all things new, within reason, including new clothes, which has to have the color red, as it is an auspicious color for the Chinese. I don't remember having new clothes every year, but I must have. However, I do remember having new pajamas, homemade by my mother every year, which was the highlight of my new year. But Chinese New Year is all about the family and food. In all Chinese communities, everyone celebrating Chinese New Year is given time off, sometimes up to a month, and businesses and shops are shut. It is very important that we all go back to our parents' home to celebrate the New Year's Eve banquet with the family. So lots of traveling happens just before the New Year, and there could be 4 generations gathered together. For the banquet, there has to be 9 dishes, 9 being an auspicious number, and at the center of the spread, there has to be a fish dish, because the word fish sounds like the word prosperity in Mandarin Chinese. Although not a religious festival, at midnight, we light fireworks and send off firecrackers and make as much noise as we can to frighten off a demon called Nian. Now, Nian in Chinese Mandarin is the word for year. And instead of greeting one another with Happy New Year, we sometimes say, congratulations on escaping the clutches of the demon Nian. In Chinese, of course, which goes as 过年好. The term you hear used, 恭喜发财, is the Cantonese for congratulations and may you have prosperity. It sounds 恭喜发财 in Mandarin Chinese and 恭喜发财 in my dialect in Hokkien. A bit more of my dialect later on. As it is the most important Chinese festival, we celebrate it for 15 days. And each day has a different significance, of which I am not an expert, having grown up in Malaysia as a 3rd generation Chinese away from China. And the various regions or provinces of China celebrate each of the 15 days differently, with various traditions and different food dishes. Nevertheless, the first and second day of Chinese New Year are the most important, whichever province you hail from, and during these 2 days you visit friends and relatives and eat, and eat. Young people and children are given money in red packets, and this gesture conveys good luck for the giver. And everywhere, as part of the festivities, there are dragon and lion dances performed by members of different martial arts groups. My ancestors came from the province of Fujian and spoke the dialect Hokkien. This is a different dialect to Cantonese, which is spoken by the Chinese in Hong Kong, where most of the Chinese in the UK come from. For the Hokkiens, the 15th day of Chinese New Year has special significance, and is also known as the Lantern Festival. There is more food, of course, and in addition, it is the equivalent of Valentine's Day in the UK, and young people, and maybe not so young people, throw oranges in the river as a plea to find a good husband, and apples for a good wife. If the oranges or apples are rotten to the core, well, use your imagination. This year, Chinese New Year is the year of the ox or buffalo, and it's the 2nd year of the 12-year cycle of animals in the Chinese calendar. And that came about because a very long time ago, the Emperor of China decided to hold a race to see which animal would win. The rat won because he cheated and sat on the head of the buffalo and was the first animal the emperor saw crossing the line. The pig came last as he was probably having a rest along the way. The animals in the right order are rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, sheep or goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. At the end of this reflection, there will be a table of the animals against the years. Have fun finding the animal you are. The challenge this week is, what animal are you? I am a pig. But just to slightly complicate things, if you're born in January, before that year's Chinese New Year, you are the animal of the year before. I have a book at home that has the Chinese calendar and the Gregorian calendar dates side by side for the last 100 years and the next 50 years that can accurately tell you the animal you are. Just to further complicate things, the Chinese years are denoted not just by animals but also by elements in 5-year cycles. These elements are wood, water, fire, earth, metal, which signifies gold in Chinese. So once in 60 years, you could be a golden pig. If I've confused you, forget everything I've just said and just remember that Chinese New Year is all about the family and food. Just to finish off, this year the date for Chinese New Year is a numerical palindrome in the Gregorian calendar. 12022021. The date is identical if you reverse the numbers. I find that fascinating. And as superstition runs in my blood, perhaps the year of the ox will herald a better year than the year of the rat last year. I hope so. And I look forward to celebrating the year of the tiger when Chinese New Year 2022 or 4720 falls on the 1st of February with lots of good food and in a more socially friendly way again. Thank you.